Before we start, I would like to say a huge thank you to Nick Cortez and the Shapeshifter for voice acting in this video. Their links are in the description below. In Revenge of the Sith, the cunning Chancellor Palpatine and the highly attuned Jedi Master Mace Windu engage in the Battle of the Ages. This ultimately sees the defeat of Palpatine when his lightsaber is kicked from his grip as it plummets to the depths of Coruscant. Now, as many of you know, as I have mentioned on several occasions, I believe that Palpatine forfeited this fight, that he lost on purpose as he knew Anakin would eventually show up. For Anakin to complete his transition to the dark side, he needed to be provoked. If he marched into his office to see the two Force users mid-battle, then his choice to help Windu would make much more sense. But with Palpatine on the floor and about to die, Anakin would do what must be done. So what would happen if in this situation, Mace Windu didn't act as Palpatine had first predicted? What if, instead of thrusting his lightsaber for Palpatine's throat, he instead arrested him? This is what he first intended to do when he entered the Chancellor's office. Windu calls for Palpatine to be arrested and face the consequences for his actions in the Clone Wars and against the Jedi Order. When Anakin shows up, Palpatine tries to manipulate him the same as in the normal timeline. However, if Mace opted to arrest instead of kill, things would have turned out differently. Anakin places handcuffs on Palpatine's wrists as Windu violently shoves him out of the room. Republic clone troopers would place him in a prison cell where he would await his trial. Anakin still had a lot of confusion and fear swelling within him. He thought about Palpatine's words.
You know, don't you? If the Jedi destroy me, any chance of saving her will be lost.
He needed a way to save his wife, and the Council were not granting him the rank of Master, giving him the access he needed to the restricted section, where he could find all of the Jedi and Sith knowledge he required. Because of this, he searched for other alternatives. Time was nearing until Palpatine reached the predicted birth date, with only a few days left. This meant that Anakin was becoming desperate. Anakin trusted the nightmares that he experienced. Only a few years earlier, he witnessed similar dreams of his mother dying, which came into fruition. Days went by and the conflict within Anakin only expanded. Night after night, the same dream, the same nightmare. He toyed with the option of explaining his predicament to Obi-Wan, or even Ahsoka for that matter, but he thwarted the idea from his mind. He couldn't risk the possibility of them telling the Jedi Council. He knew how thoroughly Obi-Wan followed the Jedi Code. He was pushed into a corner. His options had completely dissipated, all but one. Throughout this entire ordeal, only one person had promised him the safety of Padme, and that was Palpatine himself. The thought of losing Padme in childbirth drove Anakin to the decision of confronting Palpatine. That evening at midnight, Anakin traveled out of his bed where Padme lay still with her eyes shut. He takes a speeder and heads for the Republic prison where Chancellor Palpatine was waiting for his trial. Anakin uses the Force to lunge the clones into the wall out of his way. He sneaks past further guards until he makes his way to the Sith Lord. Palpatine sat, staring at the wall. His eyes were shut, indicating that he was meditating.
My boy, I knew you would come home sooner or later. How is Padme?
Anakin became stern very quickly. He commanded that Palpatine inform him of the secrets to save Padme's life. Anakin reached out with his hand to make his threat more convincing.
Yes, use that rage, that anger. It makes you stronger. To revive your wife, you must journey to the dark side. Only through your decrepit hate and lust will the power be revealed to you, as it was to my master, Darth Plagueis. If we work together, we can discover the secrets as he did. The choice is yours, my friend.
As Anakin contemplated his options, a loud bang struck the prison as three hooded figures entered Palpatine's cell.
Master Skywalker, what are you doing here?
They each removed their hood to reveal that they were Jedi Knights, the same as Anakin. Anakin investigated their faces. Katuni. He remembered her because of Ahsoka, who went on countless missions with her. The next was a Twi'lek Jedi named Aayla Secura. But arguably the most shocking person there was Shak Ti.
I think I could ask you the same question.
At this point, the three Jedi couldn't just lie. Just like Anakin, they were caught red-handed in the scheme of something illegal.
We have come to put an end to his tyranny.
After the Clone Wars, many Jedi had lost everything. They lost their home worlds, their loved ones and friends in the Republic. These three Jedi found an opportunity to gain revenge against the man who had caused them so much grief. Anakin stared at them.
No, you can't. He must stand trial. The Senate will decide his fate.
Move aside, Skywalker. Palpatine's fate is sealed. He will die.
Palpatine stood silently, watching the confrontation unfold with a smirk. Anakin had to protect the Chancellor. He was so close to discovering the secrets that he desired. The three Jedi ignited their blades. Anakin followed swiftly. Shak Ti used the Force to push the prison bars downward in order to give them more room to swing their Jedi weapons around. They engaged in a duel, but it didn't last long. Anakin force pushed Katuni into the wall and then swung for the two masters. Anakin's powers were far superior to theirs. He was the chosen one after all. Aayla Secura would fall to Anakin's blade quickly, but it was Shak Ti who was harder to kill. Anakin attempted to choke her in the air, but she broke free. Their blades connected back and forth as they tried to kill each other, but Anakin beat her to the finishing line. He knocked her saber from her grip and impaled her to the chest. By killing Shak Ti and Secura, Anakin had forgotten about Katuni. Katuni had made it to her feet and ran for the defenseless Palpatine. Palpatine called Anakin's name in a rush of fear. He thought his life was over. Katuni raised her lightsaber and swung for Palpatine's throat, but she was stopped in her tracks. Katuni placed a hand on her neck. She struggled for breath, for life. She turned to look at Anakin. Fear and trepidation took over Katuni's face. Anakin looked as serious as ever, his right hand out in front of him, choking the life of the girl. Katuni was only a kid, but at this moment it didn't matter to Anakin. Calling on all aspects of the Force to help him in this fight, calling on the dark side. And with a snap, there was nothing left but a lifeless corpse on the metal ground. The realization of what Anakin had done hit him. He dropped to his knees.
What have I done?
You are fulfilling your destiny, Anakin. Henceforth you shall be known as Darth Vader.
Now there was only one thing left, destroying the Jedi Order. Palpatine was still the Chancellor at this moment. He was only arrested and still awaiting trial, so no replacement had been made. This meant he still had access to the 150 general orders, including Order 66. Palpatine decided that he would join Anakin at the Jedi Temple. Since he was arrested, he needed to prove his innocence to the galaxy. He would find evidence at the Jedi Temple. The clones received Order 66 and the purge of the Jedi began. No Jedi at the temple stood a chance against Anakin and Palpatine combined. Yoda was back on Coruscant at this point and inside the Jedi Temple, but Yoda's caring and empathetic nature would be his downfall. He sacrificed himself in order to save a group of younglings attempting to escape the temple. Anakin intercepted them and Yoda gave his life to make sure the younglings escaped. Every Jedi in the galaxy lost their life that day. Obi-Wan couldn't believe that his apprentice had turned to the dark side, but he was gunned down by a clone trooper before he could see it with his own eyes. Palpatine relished in his victory. He had waited patiently in the dark for years, just for this moment. Their toughest challenge would be Mace Windu. His speed and ferocity was like no other Jedi Master. Mace Windu wielded a variant of the Form 7 fighting style called the Pod. This allowed him to channel a dark side user's power through himself, making the Sith Lords far less powerful. Because of this, Anakin and Palpatine had to use all of their strength to defeat Windu. The combined abilities of Anakin and Palpatine eventually became far too much for Windu. Despite his extremely diverse and unique fighting style of a pod, he too would die. The two Sith Lords decimated the Jedi Order. All around the galaxy, clone troopers gunned their generals to the floor and paved the way for the Empire to rise. Palpatine assured his seat on the throne and kept a steady grip over the galaxy. Lord Vader was able to save Padme's life as she gave birth to twins. His mission was complete and his wife safe, but at what cost? Anakin had completely lost himself and fallen to the dark side. There was little that would be able to save him now. As he traversed the galaxy, conquering and pillaging worlds, Padme would raise the twins. She despised what he had become, but she couldn't do anything about it. If she tried to escape and take the twins with her, Palpatine would kill them all. In the end, Palpatine had received the ending that he had wished for. The Jedi were dead, and the Sith would live forever. What did you guys think of today's video? If Mace Windu arrested Palpatine, I think there would be two different ways that the story could have gone. Under desperation of saving Padme, Anakin would likely visit Palpatine in prison and try and learn the secrets that he needed. Or another possible version is where Palpatine stands on trial before the Senate, in a sort of court-like sense, where they decide if he is guilty or not. But many other channels had followed that storyline, so I thought I would try something a little different. If you liked today's video, please let me know by hitting the like button and commenting your favorite moment. Thank you all for watching, and may the Force be with you.